Trevs Hockey Show. I'm the Trev. It's too sweet. Anyway, hope you're having a good whatever it is you celebrate this time of year. I know for myself it was actually pretty sweet, but it's a different video for a different day. Anyway, the year is fastly approaching its end, and although I didn't attain to the end of my goals for this channel at the end of the year, I'm still going to keep motoring. But having said all that, we've had some pretty awesome moments in the last 12 months. And I just want to take a couple minutes just to go over my 10 favorite things from this calendar year in the NHL. Feel free to give me yours if you've got any, but either way, let's get down to it. Starting at 10. I wanted to put this one a little bit later, but it only made sense to start off with a cold winter classic. And here's where I get to have fun with two different modes of temperature. Because being Canadian, we do things in Celsius. So in Celsius, this game was minus 20 degrees Celsius. In Fahrenheit, that's minus 5. Now, being a Canadian and being an Edmontonian, when the first Heritage Classic rolled around, I believe that was a temperature of minus 18. So, yeah, definitely one of the coldest games. But having said that, it brings two of the best things together, snow and cold, in one of my favorite things, the outdoor games. It just gives it that feel of authenticity. I mean, it's hard to explain. I know a lot of people have said that you don't need snow and you don't need cold. Well, for the feel of it, you kind of do, just to get the authenticity of it. And on top of that, it was a good game too. I mean, the Blues won 6-4, so you had 10 goals in a game that was very cold. What more can you ask for, right? Number 9. Lots of streaks going on. So you got Mitch Marner breaking a team record with 23 games with points straight. That's a good streak. Jason Robertson had a nice point streak going. Should be a surprise to no one, but Connor McDavid is on a 16-game point streak. The Bruins broke a home record to start their season. Even the Devils were playing streaky for a while. Even Seattle put in a 5-game winning streak before putting in another 6-game winning streak. I think what I'm trying to say is competitiveness is alive and well for teams and players to be streaking as much as they are. I mean, and it goes to show that point production is on its way up, which is a great thing. Number 8. This year's reverse retro line. So for the most part, I was pretty stoked on this year's line. I mean, a lot of teams did the right things. Mostly that one. And of course the Fishermen. Some actually improved compared to their last outing. And some digressed. On a side note, I'm glad Seattle didn't go the way of the Metropolitans. Save that one for a better occasion. But all in all, pretty stoked by this year's reverse retro line. Number 7. I have to include Colorado winning the Cup. More so because it helps set up number 6, but at the same time, it was finally nice to see Colorado play like Colorado has been wanting to play for a long time. I mean, yeah, I said Tampa was going to win, but yeah, I knew I was lying through my teeth on that one. Either way, they were dominant. 16 wins, 4 losses. I mean, and they shut out the Oilers. Well, they didn't shut them out, but they swept them in 4 straight. I mean, the Oilers were the hands-on favorites, right? But no, Colorado did better. So, despite what a lot of people might say about officiating, it was the right call, It was nice to see Colorado win the Cup. Again, setting up number 6. Number 6, Cale Makar. First off, this year, he's still off to an amazing start despite Colorado's standings in the standings right now. 31 points in 33 games as per NHL.com. But let's not forget, last year, in 2021-22, he had 86 points. That was his Norris winning season. He also has 211 points, and he's only in his fourth year. As far as offensive defenseman's concerned, that's awesome. On top of a Norris, he also has a Conn Smythe to his name, plus the Calder he won in his rookie year, and a Stanley Cup as well. So let's not discredit that. Like I said, 4 years in, and he's already getting the Bob Orr comparisons, which, sure, if you want to throw them around, why not? I'm not for them, I'm not against them, but, you know, if we're going to throw around comparisons, let's give it a little bit first. The easiest thing to forget is he was drafted 4th overall in 2016. He's playing like he should have been drafted first. Imagine the difference that would have made. Just one of those what ifs, right? Right. And to also remember, too, he wasn't drafted out of the big three. He wasn't drafted out of the WHL, the OHL, or the QMJHL. He's drafted out of the BCHL. So take that into consideration. It's one of those things. It's like you never know what you have till you draft it. I mean, Colorado should be thankful they have a guy like Cale Makar on their team. I'm sure they are, but watching him evolve is probably one of the greatest things to see. Number 5, the Iron Man streak getting broken twice. Now, if you remember, we did a video when Keith Yandle broke the record. That was near the beginning of the year, and that was when the record was 967. Yandle took that record up to 989 before being benched. I know. But I did say that there was a Yandle, or there was a Kessel on the run. Kessel broke the record at 990 on October 26th. Not only did Kessel play his 1,000th straight game, making him the first player to do it, he's taken that record to 1,020 and still counting. Like, whoever breaks this record next, oh my goodness, they are going to be playing a lot of hockey. Number 4, the inaugural season. Okay, so statistically, it wasn't anything to write home about. I mean, yeah, it was only a 27-49-6 record. We did finish last in the division, last in the conference, but look on the bright side. We have Beniers in the lineup now. And, the way the season's gone this far, their second season, right, they're sitting pretty outside, just outside the playoff spot. I mean, I think they're in the wild card bubble right now. Lots to look forward to, man. And for my own self, being I've waited since 2010 for this moment, when they were still arguing over the memorandum of understanding, this was finally nice to see happen. And I mean, sure, we didn't come close to the mark or the bar that the Golden Knights set as far as expansion records is concerned, but you know what? Didn't have to. It's drawn eyes to the game in the Pacific Northwest, and that's a great thing. I mean, your built-in rivalry with the Vancouver Canucks, you can take it as far as any of the California teams, the Sharks in particular. And this is only year 2. There's lots more ahead, so stay tuned. Number 3, the Battle of Alberta, at least the playoff edition anyway. I mean, don't get me wrong, regular season Battle of Alberta is just as entertaining. It's still worth 2 points in the standings, if you want to look at it that way. But the playoffs mean so much more. I mean, the only thing I have against this series is the fact that it wasn't a conference final. It was a conference semifinal, but you still had 45 games, or 45 goals in 5 games between both teams, including 15 goals in game 1, which was a 9-6 Calgary win. As far as a goal scorer's delight, absolutely it was. There was no shortage of goals. Of course, I mean, you look at the goaltending the Oilers had, and it's not hard to see why. But anyway, moving on. Great hockey, and I don't know if that's just because I live in Alberta and naturally you're conditioned to the kind of hockey they play, but overall, great hockey to watch. Number two. I mean, come on. It wouldn't be any kind of list without Ovechkin on it. So it's fair to say it's Ovechkin versus Gretzky as far as records is concerned, because Ovi's chasing and breaking a lot of Gretzky records along the way. At this moment, the goal count is at 803, being he just passed Gordie Howe for sole possession of second by scoring 802 2 games ago. He has the record for most shots, which was a Ray Bourque record. He also has the record for most goals with one franchise, which used to be a Gordie Howe record. He has the most road goals in NHL history, which used to be the Gretzky record. He's closing in on most game-winning goals, which is a Jagger record. He's also closing in on most empty net goals, which is a Gretzky record. So, yeah, it's not hard to understand why you would have arguably one of, if not the best goal scorer of all the times at number two. So what's number one, you're asking? I'll tell you. Number one, we got a full schedule. We didn't have to deal with the NHL bubble. Any games that had to get postponed got made up. They didn't take an Olympic break, which a lot of people might say is a bad thing. That's a great thing, but that's a different point for a different video, which if you want, I'll get into why I'm not the biggest fan of NHL at the Olympics, but I digress. No shortened season. It wasn't called off because of health crises. It wasn't shortened because of the same health crisis. No one got in based off playoff point percentage, regular season point percentage, anything like that. There was no play-ins. It was straight 1 through 8, 2 conferences. It was a great thing to see. Even though, their contemporaries at the K were the same kind of guys that would be like, oh, you can't play, well, you forfeit the game. There was none of that. It was a full, you got in based on competitive play in a full schedule. No forfeits, none of that. Even if that meant the regular season stretched into the playoffs, even if that meant that the regular season and the playoffs was only extended by a couple more weeks, that was quite all right. We got a full 82 game schedule for the 21-22 season. And the 22-23 season, hey, we're well on our way. So let's hope we can keep that momentum, right? What I'm trying to say is, it wasn't a case of, oh, well, you did this good, well, you're guaranteed that. No, you're not guaranteed anything. You play, you get in based on how you play. Right. Glad we had this talk. Either way, a full season of hockey. That's the greatest thing anybody could ask for, right? So there's another one of Trev's top 10s here on Trev's Hockey Show. I want to thank you for tuning in. Don't think I don't appreciate the fact that you're right here. If you're right here, if you are, give me a thumbs up. It really helps. It really does. If you want to say hi, you're digging what I'm doing, hit that thumbs up. That red button, if you haven't yet, you know what it does. You know how it makes you feel. And you know we're going for 250. Let's make that happen. Social. Yeah, social. Only one. It's in the description down below. So moving forward, feel free to give me your top 10 moments of the season. Let me know if we are anywhere close to this. I mean, there's nothing wrong with having a separate list. This is why, you retrospect, you think on things as they've gone. But now I'm rambling. Either way, in the meantime, in between time, you're looking for some Trev. Data.